You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
All right. Hey, this is Walter. You know what? I'm trying something different tonight. I got my new bumper. You know what? It actually came up earlier this week, I guess. And, I didn't pay attention. I had this woman. I paid like $50 to get a bumper made, so I wouldn't be using somebody else's, even a few seconds of somebody else's material. Yeah, I wish I would have known about it sooner. I might go back to my other bumper. I'm just trying this for a change tonight. Hey, folks, hope you're having a good morning, I guess, because I'm doing my show in the morning hours of Thursday. Hey, I have to thank, there's this woman on my Facebook page. I love her. But she puts up, she's on the same side of the politics that I am. And she puts up really funny stuff. So she put up this little cartoon tonight. You can't see it. I'm not really videotaping it until the end of the week at this point. But yeah, she put up this thing, and it's The Wizard of Oz with Dorothy, but yeah, I got that Dutch accent there, and her little dog too. And she says to the three, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion, no brain, no courage, no heart. And it says, so you're politicians, right? With a question mark. So, yeah, that was pretty funny. I had to throw that in first. I tell you, though, it was another one of these nights from hell for me, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, again. I don't understand people. And, I'm beating a dead horse at this point, I understand. But people just seem to not, you really feel like, at least I do where I work. I've had this in the past. But you know what? When I was younger, in my 20s, I worked at this place called I Got It at Gary's. And I met a lot of nice people there. I had fun with the people, and we used to hang out. I made most of my friends that I had because one got married. And these were people when I was in my 20s. These, a lot of the kids I used to hang out with, and they loved me. I loved them. They were fun to joke around with. Kind of tease them and stuff. But, yeah, those days are way behind me now. It's a shame because I watched these kids when I was in my early 20s grow up and now are married and have probably, I don't know, they might even have kids of their own at this point. But, yeah, some of my best friends were people from I Got It at Gary's. I met a few people when I was at Monco College. I can't really say. I had one or two friends when I went to Cabrini, but really never kept in touch with them the same way. Yeah, I just don't understand. I've worked at the place I work now for, it's going on 13 years. It's actually like a little over 12 years, 12 and a half years. And you know what? I can't tell you one person on one finger that I actually affiliate with, maybe a couple times outside of work. And the people are just very, they don't want to be bothered with, at least with me. They think I'm like either their frenemy or just a person that they make the scapegoat of. Oh, if we got rid of Walter, everything would be much better. Well, I hate to tell you, no, that's not the case. You would find somebody else to, basically make your center focus of hatred. So that's how they relate is by, because there used to be a little guy there. He got on my nerves too a little bit, but I love the dude. But unfortunately he got laid off. Great guy. But he got along with a lot of people, but people used to backstab and talk behind his back too. So these people act like they're so wonderful. The only thing that holds me from like really just going over the deep end or basically just going in there with an Allen wrench and beating the shit out of some of these people that are just like basically moronic. There's a few people there that are really, really down to earth, that I work with still. I have one person outside of the building I work that, basically talks to me every night, kind of talk me off the edge. But there's one guy, I will mention his name because it's not going to hurt. But it's a guy named Sean. I have to thank him because he actually keeps me from like really just going in there and going postal on some of these people because I'm many of times before I, leave work, if it wasn't for certain 3 people off the top of my head that I really can just converse with, and they can kind of calm me down. Actually, one boss now, too, can talk me off the edge now, too, which is not an easy task, trust me. But, yeah, otherwise, trust me, I'd be going in there with a machete. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Don't take me seriously. A machete or, a Tommy gun and just fucking blasting these people because, you can say, oh, well, they're not worth your time. But trust me, it would be satisfaction on my part. I'd beat the shit out of them and to a pulp, but it would just be, what was that old saying? I'd hit you, but shit splatters. That's how I feel. But yeah, this guy, Sean, he really is a great guy. He's helped me in the past. There's another guy, John, and this guy, Mike. I mean, there's some people that are, for the most part, they're very cool. So, and I thank them for at least understanding me. So most people don't even give me a chance, and they're going to say, well, we gave you a chance, but you're not giving us any choice. Yeah, right. So the first day I started in this building, or place I worked in different places for the same company, different locations, so to speak. I'll leave it at that. Most of the time I got along with people. I had fun. We used to joke and order. We even had pizza or whatever. Now it's just like so shallow-minded, very backstabbing. There was a guy I used to work with. I wish I remembered his name. Probably better if I don't. He used to say, most places you work, people will stab you in the back when you're not looking. He said, the place that I work now, they stab you in the back while shaking your hand and being nice to you. So they were basically, he said that they stab you in the back as well as in the front, and they're shaking your hand and acting like your friend. And it's like, you know what? Where I work now, yeah, that's actually pretty much true. With the exception of like 3 people, possibly more, but you really got to watch yourself. And you know what? They make you look like you're the asshole, that you're the lowlife, you're the dirt bag. You say hi to somebody, they're ready to take you up to HR that you're some type of, some type of sexual predator and stuff. And it's like, well, you know what? There's a thing called a mirror, and I would probably look at it, and then while you're talking, make sure that you're looking at it, and you'll probably see who the real deviant person is, and it probably won't be me that you're going to become back on that reflection. If it is, hey, I'll shut up. I won't say any more. But, thanks again, because I was talking to the one guy tonight. Love the dude. He's really cool, amongst other people. Don't take that the wrong way when I say that, but he is, the man. To me, he's following in the steps of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm not religious. Trust me, I'm agnostic. Doesn't mean I'm atheist. It means I'm questioning the belief in God. But yeah, this guy is like, he's doing like God's work, because he's keeping me from like really just losing my temper completely, which I have done in the past. So, for those people who don't know anything about me, I'll give you a little brief synapse. Synapse, yeah, that's really smart. Synapse, that's synaptic. Give you a little brief history of me. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Sometimes I say way too much, and I think I will do that now. I grew up a very rough childhood. I was always picked on in high school. Oh, that's why Walter acts the way he does now. No, I hate to tell you, no, that's not. Well, it made me very tough, very thick-skinned, and very short-tempered. But when I was a child, well, I'm going to tell you anyway. It was funny. It's not. But when I was 12 years old, I remember it was something like spinal meningitis. I basically had a virus in my spine. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I basically just collapsed on the floor one day. Had no clue why. My brother, actually, my oldest brother, I have 2 older brothers, had to carry me to the car. My dad rushed me to the hospital. And, yeah, I literally did not have any feeling from the waist down, except in that certain area. So if you question that, yeah, I did have that. But basically, the analysis was that I had, or diagnosis, whatever you want to say, I actually had a spinal tap. I had 2 of them in my lifetime. And no, you don't feel anything. They say they're really painful, but trust me, well, at that point I had no feeling in my back. The second time I did have feeling in my back, but honestly, just pray to God they don't mess up. But if they do it correctly, which I would say 100% of the time, yes, they do it correctly because they're actually taking spinal fluid out of your back. You won't feel anything. I don't believe that. You just don't think about it either. Trust me, because I've also had a catheterization. Catheterization? No, actually. Well, I had a tube stuck up my leg into the main artery, and they said that was real painful. I think I used the wrong term, so I apologize, because a catheterization is when you put something up your private part, for a man. But whatever that is, and I didn't feel any pain on that one either. Of course, we were Novocaine up. But the bottom line was there was a virus that literally basically landed in my spine, caused me to be paralyzed, and I had to actually relearn how to walk. Now, the result of that was I actually did suffer minor brain damage. But the thing is, most people don't even use. Well, actually, most people nowadays don't even use that small percentage of the brain that most people use. So I basically had to learn how to re-walk again. So me growing up, though, it was difficult, and I know it got expensive. So my dad, after a while, said, "You know what?" Because I had to go to physical therapy to learn how to re-walk, and I was 12 years old. So basically, my dad, he got to the point. It's like I'm not going to pay for this anymore. So I basically had to learn how to walk after a while on my own, and when I was in high school, and I also was starting to have a little bit of a problem, like with scurvy, I guess, because they make you, like in high school, I swear to God, they make you bend over to see if your spinal cord lines up perfectly or something, and mine had a curvature to it, so I had that problem too. I had a lot of problems. I actually had brain scans, and when I was younger, I used to get really bad migraines. And the reason for that was there was actually a swelling in the brain too, and that caused severe migraines, not migraines, but bad headaches. So yeah, I carried my cross. Trust me, my dad years ago he said that. I'll go into that briefly too. But yeah, I've had a harder life than most people. But I was also sheltered at the same time because I was so many years institutionalized for physical problems and other things. But when I was out, the kids in high school, they thought it was funny that I would walk funny, and they would pick on me. One kid used to tease me and say, "Oh, you walk like a chicken." He used to tease the way I walk because I talk out of the side of my mouth. That could have been probably part of the brain damage. Who knows? Obviously it shows on my radio show, I'm sure, too. But, people are obviously very cruel, and it doesn't stop when you get out of your adolescence. It just continues on for the rest of your life. So I take it to heart when I see people who go on these rampages and they kill these kids in their high schools and stuff. I'm not saying it's right, but I can almost, in a strange and weird way, empathize with them. I understand what they're going through, believe it or not. I just don't take that direction that I need to kill everybody. I say that, but I don't mean it. And I feel it really take it to heart when I see kids who kill themselves. I remember when I was in high school, there was a kid who actually had taken a rifle and he stuck up to his chest. And he pulled the rifle, and I remember it was my one teacher in school was talking about it because we had some type of thing, when they come to your school, if you, knew that this kid that a grievance process at the school. I remember this, and they said the kid accidentally, when he was trying to shoot himself in the chest, the rifle slipped and he missed all his vital organs. But he was pretty much messed up probably till this day. This was 30-some years ago for the rest of his life. He lived through his suicide attempt. And I had a person, I remember when I was younger, she actually saved my life because I still have to deal with that. You know, I have my problems. I have problems with obsessive compulsive disorder, you know, thoughts of suicide constantly. It's something that doesn't go away. You just got to learn how to deal with it. And it's difficult when you have people around you who just basically want to push you off the edge. It's like being on like the edge of a bridge, like you're ready to jump over a bridge, and you know you're trying to talk yourself down, but then you have people behind you who are trying to push you over that bridge to make sure you do, you know, end your life. That's what I deal with every single day. But you know, you try to be the stronger man and not let that get to you. But I had a girl, she was 18, I was like 21. She was a friend of mine. This was down in Horsham years ago. She actually, I had one time I had a really bad occurrence. I actually lost my temper and destroyed my apartment. I lived in an apartment this time down in around the Horsham area. And I didn't know who else to call because nobody else really gave a fucking shit. So I called her. Her name was Lauren. I don't know her last name, and it's not important anyway. But for some reason, I had called her. She came over to the house, my apartment, and she said, you know, I'm surprised you're still alive. And it was like she called the right people and helped me out. Unfortunately, she had problems too, and she tried to commit suicide. She ended up in some hospital, state hospital, not a state hospital, I'm sorry, some hospital. I might actually have to cut this into 2 shows tonight because it's going to run pretty long. And I try not to think about it, but she actually was admitted to like a hospital where they had the ward for people that were suicidal and stuff, and she was under suicide checks. And she was on 15-minute checks, and she actually ended up successfully. I'm still angry at this hospital, and I don't want to mention the name of it. But they should have kept a better eye on her, and she ended up hanging herself, and she was brain dead. And her parents at first left her on a life support system, and they had to make the decision of letting her off of that. So, yeah, I've dealt with stuff like that, and trust me, it really made an impact on my life. I remember one time there was a friend when I lived in Horsham. Yeah, I had a group of people that were just as messed up as I was. And my one friend actually, or no, a group of friends that basically had similar problems that I did. One time, there was this girl that called for I had a roommate at the time. And she called, she was asking for my roommate. Now, this is on the same line that I'm talking about already. And it was like, I can't remember her name, so Madam X, whatever. And I said, are you all right? Because she sounded really weird. And she says, yeah, I'm just asking for, you know, my roommate. And I was like, no, I don't believe you. So I called somebody, it was like a counselor I had at the time, to deal with my problems. And he actually, I said, listen, there's something going on with this girl. You know, we need to go over her apartment and find out what's going on. So we did. And here she overdosed. She was trying to commit suicide. And it was like, it was very stressful, but I kept my calm the whole time. And I remember that I actually went to the hospital with her, and I never knew how they did that, but they had to pump her stomach because she overdosed on some type of medication, and deliberately. And me and this advisor, or this counselor, we were in the hospital, and basically what they did is they filled her stomach up with, like, it looked like ginger ale or something. And they just basically fill up your stomach until you end up that you can't hold anymore in your stomach, and until she vomited. And it wasn't until after that was all done that I just, like, literally broke down, and I couldn't, you know, I couldn't compose myself anymore. But it was like, it was amazing that, you know, I saved somebody's life that she could have died. And it was a weird feeling, but it really got to me. And I know after I did that, she never said, hey, well, I thank you for, saving my life. I guess that's a thankless thing to do. And I'm not asking for her, to thank me, but I'm not the type of person to sit by and watch somebody kill themselves. Now, I'm a hypocrite on that fact because I had one guy tell me years ago, I worked at this place called Acme Markets, and he said to me right to my face, and this guy was like one of these biker guys. Like he actually was, I think he served some time in jail at one point. He was he worked at the same place I did in this Acme Markets. And he told me one time, and this guy was a tough guy. People were fucking afraid of this guy. And he told me right to my face, he said, most people are afraid to die. He told me, but you're afraid to live. So he knew right away that I was very suicidal. And, it's something you deal with. It's like an alcoholic. And in fact, the way I deal with my problem, I used to, with the OCD and the suicidal thoughts, is I used to go to the NAAA meetings, and that actually helped me a lot, because you just basically replace whatever problems that these people, their addiction to what your addiction is. My addiction was obsessive compulsive disorder and suicide. And I remember that this is where this comes into play. I remember years ago, I was seeing some psychiatrist, and my dad had to be in, my family. And the doctor said, well, your son is suicidal, so you gotta live with the fact that someday he will commit suicide. And that's me. And my dad said, oh, well, and he's a very strong man. But we walked out of this session, and he basically told me, no, he didn't tell me, but he actually started breaking down. He was starting to I think the weather outside starting to affect my allergies. And he basically just told me, he told me right to my face, he said, you've been carrying your cross for a long time, my crucifix. And he said, and he broke down, he cried right in front of me. So that was pretty intense. Now, I'm not showing the emotions I normally do. I'm holding those back. But you know what? I still carry my cross. So, to this day with people. So, the thing is, one of the other things I had taken up with when I was younger, I actually had a nervous breakdown by the age of 12 and 13, after, had been paralyzed from the waist down. So I had many years in and out, like a revolving door of hospitals, mental state hospitals, and state hospitals and stuff. I know at one point my dad had really good insurance on me, and they were going to try to I have no respect, believe it or not, many a times for the for these places, institutions and stuff. That's why actually originally I decided to go to college to become a counselor myself. And when I seen, I had to do internships, when I saw what you have to go through, I decided I can't handle this. Most people who go into being psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, they themselves have problems. And it was funny, actually, because years ago, I was at one place, some institution, and there was this girl. She was, I would say, manic depressive, probably not actually that. It was something else. I'm trying to remember. She was psychotic. And everybody knew the girl was, she was very unstable. Well, we were all unstable, but she was more so apparent. So they used to put her in these things called 4-point restraints. Actually, there's 5-point restraints, but that's when they basically put your head down and tie it down. So she always used to complain about one of these nurses. She claimed that she was being beaten up by a nurse in this one institution. It's a private one, too. It's a very well-known one, which I can't mention. So anyway, nobody believed her. And then one day, this nurse got quietly walked out. And it got through very quickly that apparently this nurse who also had mental problems did actually beat up on the patient, this particular patient, probably other ones too. So yeah, I have somewhat of a little disrespect for places like that. That's why I'm like the type of person, and almost like Daredevil, I want to go in and try to change the system, I guess. And I've also had some run-ins with authorities where I've been on the receiving end of the bad cops more than once, and that's a different story. That's a story for another night. So I'm just giving you a little bit because I'm actually running over again. I'm actually towards the end of my time that I wanted to do. I'll probably just fill you guys in if you're interested in more of my history. So I want to get a couple things in. I'm probably all over the place. I'm going to have to re-listen to my show later on. I'm just going to put up as it is. But, folks, you're not the only one that suffers with problems. If there's anybody besides my friends who listen. But I think all of us in our own way kind of carry our own cross. I actually had one last story before I go into, very quickly my news segments. I'll only give you, the basic titles and stuff. I'm not going to go into extreme detail. I had a friend when I was younger. His name was John Greenswald. He was my best friend. When I first saw him, he actually was. I didn't really want to affiliate with him because he looked kind of like somebody who wasn't well off, and he went to the same school I did. So he got teased constantly. So it was funny. I think it was actually in my middle school that he came up to me, and that's how we became friends. And the reason is because I was the only way I could escape my hell on earth was through this show, Doctor Who, which I watched. I've been watching since I was 12 years old. Now, at that time, I was, I think, 15 or whatever. I'm getting some background stuff, so I got to figure out what's going on here, so I apologize. I'm picking something else up. So, please forgive me for this. I'm going to have to quit this. Yes. You know what? Let me take a short breather, and I will be right back.
You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Alrighty, folks. Hey, I'm back again. I apologize for that little bit of a disruption. Something was going on there with. I was picking up something picked up on my computer. I guess some advertisement or whatever. So I am back now. I didn't want to go this long. I ended up doing it anyway. I just wanted to mention this was years ago. Obviously, like 20, 30 years ago. When I was in high school, my best friend that I had met, his name was John Greenswald, and he meant a lot to me because he kind of brought me out of my shell. There was times, I don't know if anybody has experienced having obsessive-compulsive disorder, but mine was extremely bad, and it made it so bad that I couldn't even leave the house. In fact, one time I didn't show up to high school for a long time. I was too busy. They're called rituals. I could go into that sometime too. And it was so extremely bad that this guy, John, my friend, he actually came over the house and he was like, "What's wrong? Why weren't you at school today?" And he actually said, "Here, you need to get out of house. You need at least get out of the house." And I was sitting there in my pajamas still. So he forced me to get dressed, and he forced me out of the door because I was just basically stuck there. And it got so bad sometimes with my OCD, I wouldn't even move to go to the bathroom. I'd just go right there in my clothes or my pants. So it was really bad. I was very dysfunctional. So, yeah, I did not have the greatest upcoming. Sorry about that. Maybe that was actually meant, but I lost a lot of my stories. So, that I had lined up. So I'm just going to probably just breeze through them. Anyway, let me finish my story, because I do this even when I talk to people in for real, or at least leave voicemails in my real life. I start something and I don't finish it. But yeah, John was a good friend, and how we met though was he saw me one day. I was a fan of Doctor Who, and I signed up. It no longer exists. There was this fanzine paper and club called the Doctor Who Fan Club of America. Now, this was back in the 80s, I think, early 80s. And he saw me reading the newspaper one day, and he says, "Is that a Doctor Who fan magazine or paper?" And he said, "I never saw one of those." So I kind of ignored him at first, but it ended up like we became best friends. So the reason I bring up him, though, unfortunately for John, he was the one who actually kind of influenced me to, want to go on with my education and stuff, because he actually started at Montgomery County Community College years ago before I even thought about college. And I guess his outcome made me want to do it even more. But at one point, I was not living when I was younger. I didn't live at home. I was forced to move out of my house originally when I was 12, it was like a revolving door. I was in and out away from home, because my parents would not let me stay in the house. So they put me elsewhere. And John was always there for me, though. So one day, it was actually when I lived in my apartment in Horsham, that some friends came down, that I used to know from high school. This was actually after I graduated. And it was pertaining to John. They said something really bad had happened. It was like, I never expected what was going to happen, what I was going to hear. But here, he lived with his parents still. It was like we were only in our, late teens, early 20s. And his mother was a person, and his parents they worked at flea markets. So their house was filled with a lot of junk. It was very dangerous. And what ended up happening was, and the house was pretty not in the best of shape. The house caught on fire. How, I don't know. And everybody got out except John. So his mother went back in to try to get him out of the house, and they both end up dying. So I don't like to go into a long discussion about that, because that's something very sensitive to me. But these people made an impact in my life. They really did. And John actually absolutely did. So again, I've carried my cross, and I've never been allowed to come down from, take it off my back. People continue to make sure I carry that cross. So I think personally, John looks out for me. He's to me, he's my guardian angel. So there's been many a times the people who really have wronged me a lot end up getting, as one friend would put it, you either call it poetic justice, or one friend would call it karma. I call it both. So that's a little bit about my past history. But it makes me, when I hear people who feel sorry for themselves, and especially this thing where people just want to sponge off the government, I have no respect. You try to walk like they say, walk a mile in my shoes, and then come back to me, and then cry that you have it so bad. So I don't buy that in today's society with anybody. Anyway, I've went too long tonight. I'm just going to kind of highlight a few things, because I can't find my original stories. I usually like doing this stuff, kind of lighten the mood. There was one from Brett Bart. It looks like Brett. Oh no, it looks like BrettBart.com. That's a new one for me, because I always use the same sources. And it says, lesbian coach fired for threatening to burn down Memories Pizza. Now, Memories Pizza, I don't know if you know about that story, but the bottom line is Memories Pizza is a very Christian-based family that owns this pizza shop. I I'm trying to remember if it tells me where it's located at. Anyway, okay, northern. Okay, well, no, it doesn't tell you. But anyway, this woman. I'll just read this a little bit of it. I said I wasn't. I'm going to do it anyway. It says Dunlap, Indiana, a northern Indiana school district, says it had fired its coach who tweeted about burning down the pizza shop after the owners said they wouldn't cater to a gay wedding because of their religious beliefs. So I apologize. I can't remember. I remember hearing about this because, again, I do listen to Rush Limbaugh. He mentioned it. But I actually contributed. I don't think I contributed that one. I did 2 other ones. I wanted to. But, yeah, they basically, after they did this, everybody's entitled to what they want to do. You don't have to. If it's your business, you don't have to cater to everyone. I'm sure if these people, like if the Ku Klux Klan came in there, and asked, hey, can you cater to something we're having a ceremony? And why a pizza shop for a freaking wedding? I don't understand that. But you're entitled to your, if you don't want to serve somebody, you don't have to. It's your business. And I don't know why. Obviously, it was they knew that this pizza shop, what their belief was, their religious beliefs. So they this group came in, or these people came in asking for them to cater their wedding. Why would you want to serve pizza anyway? I don't know. I apologize again. I can't remember exactly where it was, but they actually got enough money that, from what I understand, that most of the money that was donated to this pizza shop, they only used enough to, collect on the damages the lost money and probably some minor damage. Who knows? I apologize. I can't remember exactly what happened. It was just like a week or so ago. But they donated the rest of their money to like different charities. So that, these people, their heart's in the right place. But yeah, this one woman from this high school, she is obviously, she's, lack of a better word, she's gay, and she did not like, she had to jump on the bandwagon and tweeted that she wanted to burn down this pizza shop. So, that's not the way you go around things. If you want to make a statement, violence is not the way. So, I'm not being hypocritical because, like I said, certain people I will empathize. I don't agree with their outcome. It depends on the circumstance, too. So don't, take what I say out of context if you listen to this show. Anyway, there are some other interesting things. Again, I'm just going to highlight because I'm probably going to go an hour myself tonight, which it looks like I am, and I apologize about that. But there was some story, if you're interested, in Huffington Post. It said motorcycle club faces backlash after graffiti appears on a dead whale. Yeah, that is pretty hideous. It says washed up whale corpse in the Bay Area had been defecated with the name of a local motorcycle gang, according to Kron 4. It actually is KRON, and this was in L.A. That was on the Huffington Post. That is very disrespectful. This one I kind of caught my attention because I have my love Jones for Gwyneth Paltrow, and now she's filing for divorce from Chris Martin. That one I almost have to joke on. I love her, but I don't believe in her politics. She's a little bit out there. Maybe that's why even it's not working out with her and her husband. It says they were married for like 11 years. They have 2 children. But, okay, so he's from Coldplay. I didn't know that. So, her husband, Chris Martin. I know a friend, a person I knew, he's really into Coldplay. So, he's probably relieved that she is divorcing him, because I'm sure that he's probably on the same side that I am on politics. But, hey, I love her to death, but I don't believe in her political views. But yeah, there were some goofy stories too, which I don't even want to acknowledge almost. But it was on the Daily Mail. They changed the UK Daily Mail now to just the Daily Mail. But it was titled, and I got confused when I read the title and a little bit of it, but I just lost interest in the article. But I'm just going to read the highlights since I brought it up. And it states, or it's titled, Kris Jenner, 59, tries to keep young as she joins daughter Cole at the gym and dresses up in Kanye's tour merchandise. And I was like, okay, is this Bruce Jenner maybe? Because I know Bruce Jenner was trying to go for is a sex change operation. So I didn't know. And I hate to say it, but she kind of looks manly. His Bruce Jenner's ex-wife or whatever you want to call. I don't even know because I never even followed that whole thing. So I'm just trying to end this on a lighter note because I got pretty deep and heavy earlier on in my show. Somebody mentioned that this to me, and I said, oh, this would be great. I'll bring this up on the show because I'm always looking for something to throw digs at, and it's with this company called Merck Incorporated. And somebody was complaining about this because they don't like big companies, I guess. And I don't blame them, but it says Merck and Company CEO compensation for 2014 up sharply to $25 million. Excuse me, $25 million. I should be doing that. I'm doing it again. I'm belching online, folks. So I apologize about that. But it basically says that the second largest U.S. drug maker had rewarded its chief executive officer, Kenneth C. Frazier, who also heads the board of the company, with a massive increase of 87% in his total compensation for the year of 2014, as revealed in the regulatory filing on Monday. Now, basically, they paid the man $25 million bonus. And this is in addition to what he normally makes. And they paid a couple other high people in the company. Now, I understand because this company, Merck, actually, from what I understand and I've read in the past, they've laid off a lot of people. Now, I got to take this two different ways because the person who told me about this said they've heard about this on CNN. And I understand CNN is a very biased, liberal news station that has no viewers. So I have to take this with a grain of salt. Now, I understand, hey, if you're laying off a lot of people, why are you, getting these large handouts? Well, I got to look at and play the devil's advocate. I apologize, but I do really have to do that. And you got to understand that this is a corporation that's global, and their job is not just to, serve the few. It's just they're basically representing a big freaking corporation. Now, I can understand, this person probably saying, well, there's all these companies who are laying off all these people, and Merck is doing the same. Why is this guy getting the $25 million handout? Well, he didn't say that. I'm putting it in my own words. And it's like, well, yes, you're right. You shouldn't be laying off people from a company and then getting paid this exuberant amount of money. But his position is very stressful, I'm sure. I'm not making up a very good, valid excuse for him getting paid out. But you know what? You can say the same for our president. Now, they're not going to get a bonus, but they do get a large amount of money. Now, it's not that much money. And also, again, I don't know what to say because people that we enjoy, or at least I enjoy, celebrities, actors, radio show hosts like I listen to. Howard Stern is one I used to listen to. He's on Sirius radio though now. And he's on TV. And Rush Limbaugh, both those men make as an income yearly about that much money, if not more, almost double that amount. So I have to play the devil's advocate. And even though you're talking apples and oranges, not even that, they're in different ball fields, or whatever you want to say. Yeah, that's a lot of money for one person to be given, or to, be, whatever you want to say. But their position is different than our position. You're not going to see somebody, the blue collar worker, making $25 million. Now, the thing is about this country is that anybody has the potential to do whatever they want. That's why I'm doing this radio show, if that's what this podcast, because this is something I said I was going to do, and I decided to, and I am doing it. So you gotta kind of play the devil's advocate. If you're not happy with your situation, which I am being hypocritical, you change the situation. And you might not always, because that's the case with me, you might not get the results you want. But if you don't try, you're never going to know. And by blaming somebody else, well, this person's getting this and I'm not getting anything, why not me, is not going to be the answer to change your situation. Again, if you're not happy with your situation, don't look at that other person. Look at yourself and don't expect handouts. Or, don't cry poor me. So this time I'm playing the devil's advocate, and I'm playing the hypocrite. So I'm just letting you know, and I'm acknowledging that. So I'm just letting you know. Anyway, since I am going on to almost an hour, I'm going to try to round this up before the hour mark hits. There was a story a friend had sent to me. I thought it's not funny, but it's from PIX channel11.com. Man suspected of murdering wife in Baltimore is now presumably in New York or New Jersey area. So this is a short one. Even I can read this. It says Hanover, Maryland, PIX 11. A man suspected of murdering his wife inside a Baltimore restaurant earlier this month may be in New York or New Jersey, according to the FBI. It says that detectives say, well, this guy's his last name's Patel, 24, and his wife, which I can't pronounce either, but they're both Indian, both worked at a Dunkin' Donuts in Hanover. Authorities believe Patel beat, I'm going to try to pronounce her name, Palak, to beat Palak to death in a back room just before midnight on April 12th, then fled. Patel was born in India and was in the U.S. legally, but his visa expired in March. So it goes on to say that Patel was last spotted in Newark Penn Station on April 13th. He is considered armed and dangerous. It states that the FBI, hey, I should go for this. I could pay off all my bills, at least a good chunk of them. The FBI is offering $20,000 reward for information leading to Patel's arrest. Anyone with information is asked to call 1-800-CALL-FBI. So there you go. I gave you a little bit of something that might make you some money. If you get some, give some to me. Why not me? Hey, there was some funny thing. Again, I'll just botch it up. But it was on, again, the Huffington Post this time. And it says unprecedented, can't pronounce this guy's name, gave middle finger to police security camera. And I hate to say, but it is freaking hilarious. I mean, yeah, this guy, I guess he's under, he's like in a holding cell or something, and he gives the surveillance camera the middle finger. I think it's hilarious. I just got a bad sense of humor. I'm sorry. So I want to wrap up tonight because there's this one story I think a friend had sent to me. It is actually back on the dailymail.com, the UK Daily Mail. And it says, mother charged after dead daughter's discovered being eaten by cockroaches after she abandoned her on the baby, on the floor of their infested apartment. It says 3-month-old baby Alice died of unknown causes. It was found with roach bites on her legs and head. Brittany Bell, 27, found a lifeless infant and was worried one of her twins might be responsible after she fell asleep while watching a movie with them. As no cause of the death was determined, authorities could not pursue a homicide charge. Bell has a history of leaving her young children unattended, prompting neighbors to call the police on the previous occasions. The twins have been taken into care, and Bell faces a May 8th hearing. So it goes on. The story is on because I am running past my expected time I wanted for tonight. It is going close to an hour, so I apologize. Hopefully I caught some people's attention and not in a bad way. Now, here's one thing that's interesting. She is a careless mother. I didn't want to read this story, so I won't. You can find it on the you can find it on the Daily Mail. But, she's up for negligence and obviously under her trying to not take care of her children. They only made, it says Associated District Judge Russell Valclaw set her bond at $10,000 and scheduled for a May 8th hearing. So that's some type of homicide, in my opinion. And how come, though, this woman's bail for, the murder of a child, in my opinion, is only set at $10,000. But then you got a guy who would be accused of sexually I don't want to say assault, but in a consensual sexual affair with a child, and his bail is going to be set at $500,000. So I don't know why. Please explain that to me. Why a woman can get away with murder, but some type of minor misdemeanor. Well, that's not even a minor misdemeanor. I'm not saying the right thing, but if it's a male, and it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, how frivolous or whatever, it's going to lead to life imprisonment or a $500,000, bail sentence. So I just don't understand that. When are people going to kind of level the playing ground field? And what's good for him should be good for her as well. That's just me. Anyway, this show has taken a little bit. Taken longer than I wanted to tonight, so I apologize. But I just hope I didn't bore you to death or bore you to tears. I don't want to use the word death because that might be not the right term. So anyway, folks, I hope you had a good time. I might put my bumper back in. I'm just trying something different. So everyone, have a good Thursday morning at this point. Have a good one.